Welcome to ZenMadman versus Machine, probably round 3 or something like that. The small blind versus big blind edition, blind versus blind. We spent the day looking at how to play this spot, and now I'm going to look at individual hands. We'll play 10 or 20 and take some flops. So Ace King 3. This is a board that I can use the large sizing, right? Because I've got the pocket aces, pocket kings, ace king advantage. And then also I've got a lot of queen jack 10 that when I bink the nuts, I'm going to be happy that I put a big bet in on the flop. I don't think this is a hand we want to put a big bet in on the flop that often. I am usually going to check this hand. Maybe occasionally we can bet it, but I'm going to check it. Yeah, it's checking almost pure. And you can see the solver says, yes, you do want to go big when you bet, but you don't have to, you shouldn't bet that often. And here against the larger sizing, interesting to see they use the larger sizing as well. I don't think I have to continue this. I mean, I have the king of diamonds, which I'm not sure I want. I'm blocking backdoor flush draws. And I think I can just let this go, but I might be taking a lesson I learned from a different spot and applying it here, and it might not be appropriate. So let's fold. Let's see what happens. And the solver's like, yeah, whatever. I mean, it's basically neutral EV. They got to win with 4-5 offsuit. But even though they're doing this, they're not exploiting us, if that makes sense, right? Like, we don't have to defend this hand against that sizing. The hands that we are going to defend are going to keep them from being able to do this sizing willy-nilly, right? So I think it's like an important thing to realize. Also, if I do think this king of diamonds is the wrong king to have. If you make the 10 a heart, then I think I do get to continue for sure. Makes a lot better. Okay, next. All right, 10-7 deuce, two-tone. I'm in position, they check it to me. I think I get to bet these boards kind of a decent amount, kind of a normal amount, probably 40% of range. This does not feel like one of those hands. However, I guess I've got like a double backdoor straight. I could catch a 6 or I could catch a 9 or a jack or a 4. All of those give me some added equity to barrel with. I think this is going to be mostly a check, but I wouldn't be shocked if we can bet a little bit. Yeah, and that's exactly what it is. All right, 10-7 deuce with another deuce on the turn. Now, I do think I have more deuces in my check back range, so this does feel like a spot where I get to bluff some. This is maybe a reasonable hand to turn into a bluff. I am blocking some continue range, like 8-9, jack 8, 8-6 maybe. I kind of want to start betting. Alternately, I could check back. If I check back, I don't think I can rep a deuce really on the river. So I'm going to throw a bet out there. And yeah, solver approved. It digs it. All right, next. And king jack 6, two-tone. This is the type of hand that I often bet and feel pretty good doing so. However, having seen that we are betting, I think we're betting less on the high boards, right? Then this middle pair, this still might be good enough to bet because, middle pair with a good kicker and a backdoor royal draw. Hey. So yeah, I think I do get to bet this, except for the fact that I think I'm usually using a large sizing. This doesn't feel like a hand that wants to go into large sizing. So I think small sizing or check back are probably both fine. But because my overall strategy is going to include more larger bet sizes, I'm going to check this. And yeah, it does confirm larger bet sizes better in this spot, right? And this hand is one that we want to check more than how we play our overall range. Against a $2 bet, I'm getting 4-1. I have a pair. I have a gut shot. I'm blocking the flushes should they come in. So I am blocking some of their bluffs. But like, I don't know. I think my hand's pretty decent. I think I get to call. And actually, I should have thought a little longer about that because I did not entertain the third option, which was like, yeah, I can raise this hand. I've got really nice blockers, right? I've got a blocker to the nut straight, and then I've got blockers to hands that can continue. So I am going to just check it back and take my showdown value now. I don't see turning this into a bluff at this point. And they had 2 queens. So that is definitely a hand that I might have gotten to fold on the turn, right? Although, like, do they turn it into a bluff? Do they, like, bet 3-bet it because they're double blocking the nuts? I don't know. It's not PLO, folks. All right, next hand. I should have actually hit the record thing. I'm so bad at this. All right, king 6-3. Monotone boards, we do a lot of checking. King high monotone boards, I think we lean towards the large bets or the checks. So I will check this back. I don't think this is going to get bet too often, maybe a little. No, not at all, not at all. And it actually likes the smaller bets more, but again, a lot of checking. And on this card, I don't think I need to continue with bottom pair. Could be wrong. No, pure fold. Pure fold. And, you know, they get to win with their ace high, right? But, like, just think about the runouts. Like, what? Like, that's going to be rough. I mean, I guess when the hearts get there, they don't really get paid. So, monotone board again. You know, we probably bet this at a small frequency for, you know, big or small. But you have very small frequency for the big bet, right? Here now on the turn, maybe now I can start betting. I imagine it is still mostly a check. Let's go ahead and check. And it's, yeah, so see, now this hand is betting significantly more than it had before, more than the range overall. You can see there, right? If we look at this, they bet this much. I almost think this is a hand we can turn to a bluff raise at some frequency, but pretty much just folding. Yeah, so it's like, yeah, 3.5% of the time you can turn into a bluff raise. The rest of the time you just like, it's the sort of play that it's like, it's fine. It's definitely fine. I'm blocking a straight. I'm unblocking like pairs that maybe I can get to fold. But like, if you do it too much, you're doing it way too often. You know, if you do it always or whatever. All right, we'll play, like, say another 5 or so. Paired boards. Paired boards, we actually do a lot of raising, I think. I think we can probably peel or fold this. I don't think this is a mandatory continue. I'm going to fold and see what happens. Yeah, it's like it's full Neapolitan, not too much folding, mostly calling, but you'll see the range. See the full range there? These two bars. The top one represents how I play this hand, and the bottom represents how I play the range. And if you can see the numbers, they are all very close to one another, right? Including the EV, but also just, we basically play this hand exactly like we play our overall range. I was thinking if I had a backdoor flush draw, that's obviously a better continue. So we are folding this a smidgen more, but yeah, like I'd just rather have a backdoor flush draw, but maybe I'm just continuing those hands pure, probably, right? Whereas this hand, we're mostly continuing it. We fold very little on those boards, but that was a hand correctly identified that we can fold some. All right, this actually feels like a decent semi-bluffing hand where I've got a backdoor flush draw, bottom pair, I can turn trips, I can turn 2 pair, and you know, the fact that the 5 is a spade, I think is an important detail. If it was ace jack of spades, and then the 5 was, say, a club, then the 5 of spades gives me trips, but puts a flush on a potential flush out there, right? Puts 3 to a flush out there, which can have me beat, and it can also kill action. So here, I think this is a decent one to use as a bluff, like a semi bluff, right? We're denying equity. Yeah, and look at that. It actually loves betting this hand. Overall, with range, we are checking 78% of the time, but with this hand, we're betting. We're only checking half the time, right? I'm not convinced that this is a spot I need to barrel. I am probably raising, or yeah, I'm probably betting flop with some better spades that probably make better barrels. I wouldn't hate it though. I'm gonna go ahead and check. Oh, I'm using the wrong finger. No, it really wants to bet. Check is okay some of the time. You know, a lot of the times we'll see the solver just say like, yeah, it's okay, whatever. Now I feel like I probably want to turn this into a bluff to get a jack to fold and like 6s through 10s maybe. But like maybe that's overkill. If I am betting this hand as a bluff, it's got to be like full pot. So I think checking is probably fine. And full pot or 3/4 are probably okay-ish. Like, what am I repping here? I'm repping queen 10. I'm repping king jack. I can have slow played spades, like humans don't very often, but the robot will. But I'm just such a nit. I'm just gonna check it back. Yeah, okay. Check was good. This is probably this is just too good to like turn into a bluff. Interesting to see that they go check call check with top and bottom pair, right? And if we go back and we look, like turn, they were supposed to pure check. River is almost a pure check. Flop, they're never supposed to raise there with this hand after they check. But if we do go back, we can see that on the flop, they're mostly supposed to bet this hand. But when they check it, they go into this check call mode. I think that's pretty interesting. You know, when we're doing the solver, like we can always learn from both hands, right? Which I think is very powerful. All right, half pot bet, I think we can mostly fold. We don't even have overs to the 8. We do have backdoor straight draw, you know, 3 in a row, 6, 7, 8. But I think we can just mostly fold this hand. Yeah, pure fold. Pocket 5s, we're doing pretty well against that hand, except if we turn an open ender with a 5, that could be painful. Could put in some money drawing dead. All right, 10 queen, 6, 5, 3. I think we check this board like range almost. Yeah, pure, just bet it, just check everything. And against this, I think we can fold a lot. We do want to put in a good amount of raises on a board like this. This is not the hand to do so with. Our hand is just total junk here. And as such, we are going to put it in the junk bin. All right, I think we get to fold ace high when they bet on these king, queen, 8 boards. Like, king, queen, 7. I have an 8. I don't know why I said 8. But there's 2 clubs. I have no clubs. I have no hearts. You know, so there's just not that much hope of improving. Maybe I'm supposed to call with ace high, but I don't think I am. I think they have so much king X, queen X, and even like better ace X that my hand just doesn't have much value. Yeah, so it's basically plus 0 EV to call. So totally neutral, but the solver mostly wants to fold it. You know, and they had ace high also, but they had backdoor nut flush draw, I think, right? So that makes a difference. All right, these boards, I think we do a lot of checking. This seems like an okay-ish hand to bet a little bit, but we probably mostly check. I like having the 6 of hearts. I would rather have the ace of hearts. And I'm going to start with a check. It is actually betting more than checking, but it's a fairly even split. And against this bet size, I think we can just check fold. All right. We'll play one more. One more for the road. Pocket 3s. Kind of tricky spot. Two-tone, right? Semi-connected. Lots of straight draws available. If I'm betting, I think I'm betting the larger sizing. This does feel like a hand that can just check behind. But I also think I've got so many just natural bluffs, right? I mean, just so many high equity bluffs. Unless I'm betting close to range, I don't think this makes much sense as a bet. Yeah. So we check. So if a 5 comes, like now, this is a spot where I'm just always betting as a human, because if they have like ace 9, they have 12 outs to beat me, right? Because a jack or an 8 or king 7 even, right? Like king 4 offsuit, which they don't have, but say king 4 of diamonds has a 4, a jack, an 8, or a king. So they have all those hidden outs. So I think putting in a bet actually makes a lot of sense. Against the solver, which is going to play perfectly, I'm not as sure, but I feel like that logic actually still holds up kind of structurally. I don't think it necessarily has to be an exploit to do that. So should I bet? And what sizing? I think maybe I actually, like, I'm leaning towards a small sizing, but I don't think that's necessarily right. Let's go with this. All right, it wants the small sizing. Small sizing made sense. This was bad. All right, so let's end on a sour note where I had a decent idea, but the idea was bet smaller. And let's actually replay the hand. Let's replay the hand and see what happens, how that line plays out, right? Check, check. They're going to check again. They have the same hand. This is kind of a really fascinating feature of this program. So that was my first instinct, was to use the small bet size. And it just kind of goes to show, like, we should trust our first instincts a fair amount. Okay, ace 9 got there, obviously, but I want to think, how do I play my hand against their range? Flushes got there, straights made pairs. If I am turning this into a bluff, I've got to do it like big, right? So I think it would have to be pot. I am going to just check it back. I've got showdown value, so I'm still beating hands like ace 7 and ace 10. So I don't think there's a need to turn this into a bluff. If I am bluffing with it, I think it's got to be big. And yeah, it's a pure check. If you look at the bet sizes, we can bet half, 3/4, or full pot. With other hands, not with this hand. This hand's a pure check. All right, so that's been it for round, I guess, 3 or something of ZenMadman versus Machine, the blind versus blind edition. Let me know what you think of the format. I really enjoy it, and I think it's a pretty good format, but yeah, let me know. in the comments below. Hit like and subscribe, super helpful for the channel, and I'll try to keep pumping these out. All right, see you later. Peace.